The unkillable sin. The gates of hell. Choking on thick, stinging yellow dust, the doctor and the bleeding, severely wounded monk drag themselves through the lawless border jungle. They stumble into a sudden, horrific clearing. The ground is buried under the mummified, leathery remains of hundreds of villagers and wild animals, their faces frozen in eternal screams. In the center of this graveyard stands an ancient, crumbling temple. Its jagged stone entrance curves downward like the yawning, open gates of hell. The reflection in the pond. As they approach, the doctor stops dead in his tracks. Looking down into a stagnant black pond near the entrance, he sees it. It is not his own reflection. Staring back up through the murky water are two glowing demonic eyes. The water begins to boil. Realizing the Kauthano beast is launching an immediate invisible ambush from the spiritual realm, the monk lunges forward. Spitting blood, the monk forces his hands into a sacred mudra and summons the Holy Spirit, Yaksha, a towering, fierce guardian deity wielding a celestial blade. The Yaksha erupts into reality, crashing directly into the oncoming, invisible force of the beast. Earth shatters and trees splinter as the two titanic forces lock in a brutal, deafening spiritual war. The face of evil and the terrible secret. Run! The monk screams. He and the doctor sprint past the chaotic clash, bursting through the hellish temple gates. Inside the dark inner sanctum sits the old Cambodian sorceress. Her skin is a horrific overlapping patchwork of dead leather. Using the very last drops of his spiritual life force, the monk hurls a glowing sacred thread. It snaps around her shadow, pinning her to the stone floor. The interrogation is brutal and desperate. Under the agony of the binding spell, the sorceress doesn't beg. She cackles, her teeth clicking like dry bones. With her dying breath, she spits out the terrible truth. The Kauthano buffalo beast is an immortal manifestation of absolute black magic. It cannot be killed by blades, shot by bullets, or cured by medicine. It has tasted thousands of innocent souls and grown too massive to ever be bound to an object again. It can only be contained within a living human vessel of pure, unbreakable willpower, or it will reduce the entire world to yellow ash. The sacrifice. The sorceress's head drops. She's dead. Outside, the physical world warps. The massive, smoke-like water buffalo spirit materializes fully in the jungle, its eyes burning with the screaming faces of its victims. It easily overpowers the fading yaksha and turns toward the temple, preparing to trample the weak monk and unleash a final, city-destroying wave of the yellow plague. Knowing time has run out, the monk collapses to his knees. He looks at the doctor, gasping out a forbidden, ancient secret mantra. The doctor, realizing what must be done, pulls a sterile, razor-sharp scalpel from his medical kit. With trembling hands but absolute resolve, he hands it to the monk. The monk uses his remaining strength to violently carve the jagged, bleeding lines of the mantra directly into the doctor's chest. The ritual in the city. The scene shifts to the chaotic streets of the nearby city, where the yellow mist is already suffocating the population. The massive smoke beast tracks the mantra, descending upon the doctor in a whirlwind of black fog and ash. The glowing, battle-worn yaksha manifests one final time, throwing its ethereal body between the doctor and the demon. A fierce, apocalyptic battle launches in the middle of the city streets. The yaksha uses its body as a shield, taking catastrophic blows to buy the doctor the precious seconds he needs to complete the spiritual transition. The eternal vigil. As the beast tears through the yaksha and plunges into the doctor's chest, the doctor experiences pure spiritual agony. He doesn't give in. Instead, he channels his immense, crushing medical guilt, the ghosts of every patient he could never save, and transforms that heavy emotional weight into an impenetrable psychic vault. He clamps his jaws shut, trapping the thrashing, roaring water buffalo beast inside his very soul. Instantly, the global yellow mist dries up. crumbling into harmless dead grey ash on the city streets. The peak of silence. Weeks later, high up in the freezing atmosphere, the doctor arrives at a silent peak mountain monastery. He's completely unrecognizable. His head is cleanly shaved, and he wears the simple saffron robes of a monk. However, his hands remain permanently stained pitch black from the dark magic coursing through his veins. Most terrifying of all are his eyes. They stare ahead, completely unblinking, bloodshot and wide. He can never sleep. If his mind or his eyes close for even a single second, the prison will break, and the unkillable sin will be unleashed upon the world once more.